After years of my friend parading women like trophies and boasting about his body count, he asked me to confirm how fire he is in bed, so I tore him down. One of my male friends, Jack, is a bit of a lad and very good looking. Jack thinks that lad points are important. He's always going on about how many girls he's been with and how high his body count is. I lived with him in a house share for a while, and whenever he brought a girl home, he'd make sure to parade her around by introducing her, spend 15 to 20 minutes in his room having intimacy, and come out and strut around naked or in his boxers. Yes, he really would. This behavior was pretty common for him, and even though he was an almighty douche, we were still friends. Anyway, after about 8 months of living together, after a drunken night, Jack and I ended up in bed together. Honestly, it was terrible, and having slept with him, I realized something. Jack had a big pee-pee, but he thought that having a big pee-pee automatically meant he was good at intimacy. Like, it just immediately made him amazing in bed. Our intimacy was crap, like hands down the worst intimacy I'd ever had. No foreplay, he left the lights and TV on, then unceremoniously shoved himself inside me. The whole thing was a race for him to get inside me as quickly as possible. Maybe 10 minutes of uncomfortable jackhammering, then he was done. The next morning, I was sore because 1, I wasn't wet at all, 2, his pee-pee was big, but because I was sore, he took that as him doing a bang-up job. Anyway, that experience was a few years ago, and even after all this time, Jack is still the same lad he was and still fugs girls like they're lined up on a conveyor belt for him. Back to the present. Recently, my husband and I hosted a BBQ in our garden as gatherings are now allowed. Jack came over as he's in our mutuals group. Of course, after a while, Jack starts going on about the girls he's fugged, and even showing up another girl at the party by telling people he'd fugged her. It's then he turns to me and asks if I can prove to the lads how fire he is at intimacy. Slightly embarrassed but also angry he even mentioned me, I straight up told him he was crap, worst intimacy I ever had. I then went on to say what happened, and that he only has intimacy just to say that he's had intimacy. It wasn't fun, pleasurable, or enjoyable, and for the record, I didn't come. Amazingly enough, 2 other girls also backed up what I was saying their nights with him were pretty much the same to how I described it. Jack got defensive and angry, but we wouldn't drop it. He eventually left absolutely fuming. My husband, who knows I slept with him years before, said I was insensitive, especially as it seems Jack relies heavily on the lad/intimacy god persona he's created. I don't think so. It was about time Jack was called out for being crap in bed and maybe use this to learn how to actually have intimacy. All the boys in the group think I'm an ass for calling Jack out. Me and the girls disagree. Update. I ended up telling my husband how embarrassing the situation was for me and how after dealing with so much crap from Jack, I wasn't going to apologize for tearing him down. I asked my husband why he was okay with Jack's comments, as surely Jack embarrassed him as well. My husband reasoned, that's just Jack. He doesn't really mean any harm in what he jokes about. I told my husband how I felt, and he honestly didn't realize that all this time the sexual jokes made me so uncomfortable and that I just covered up my uneasiness by just going along with it. I also wanted to distance myself from his friends, close and mutual. As right now, I feel like there was never any respect before, and certainly won't be any respect from me after, as I'm still getting messages from the boys calling me a bitch/slut/whore, you name it. I told my husband that if he wasn't going to stand up for me or stand with me, I would leave him. The persona he has around his friends is completely different to his true personality, and is not the man I married. My husband is not confrontational whatsoever, and admitted he was also very embarrassed, but kept quiet. He has never said anything before because Jack is the ringleader of the group and didn't want to go up against him. And as it turns out, it isn't the first time Jack has made comments about me to my husband. I just haven't been there to witness it. Furious at that, I told my husband that breaking away from the toxic group would be best for both of us, but if he wants to be Jack's lapdog, then I won't get in the way of that. I'm pleased to say my husband chose me. He apologized for his complicit behavior and agreed our lives would improve without our so-called friends. I think my pointing out that his friends disrespecting me was, in turn, disrespecting him, got him to see the reality of it. Truthfully, if they had any shred of respect for him as a friend, they would not be putting him down publicly as well. We were both the butt of the joke. One last point, I didn't apologize to Jack, and I never intend to. Honestly, I never intend to speak to him again, but I did message him before I blocked him. To sum up, I messaged to detail point by point why he was bad in bed, that having a big pee-pee doesn't equate to being great in bed, and to get off his high horse. Women are not sexual objects for you to parade around and embarrass. And maybe if you could please a woman, you wouldn't just have to rely on getting girls drunk from the club or bar. I also let him know that how he treats female friends is appalling, and he needs to reflect not just on his intimacy game, but who he is as a person. So I've informed Jack of his lack of skills, and he is no longer ignorant. If he continues with his behavior, that is not on me. For the record, yes, women should be open and honest in bed, but I don't.